Artex offer a variety of coving designs in both solid decorative plaster cove as well as paper faced plaster. This video demonstrates how both can be fitted. To fit Artex coving, you will need Artex multi-purpose adhesive, an Artex mitre block or the relevant corners, Artex cove joint and gap filler, tape measure, pencil, fine tooth saw, hammer, stripping knife, sponge, fine grade sandpaper, chalk line, panel pins or small nails, and paint. Plan to start fixing the cove at the most visible point in the room. If external mitres are required for, say, a chimney breast, begin with them to ensure the best pattern match of decorative plaster cove. Alternatively, if using corners, then these must be installed before commencing installation of the cove. Prior to the cove being installed, the walls and ceiling should be prepared. Remove any wallpaper and wash off any wallpaper paste and any traces of distemper, loose or flaking paint and plaster to ensure the surface is sound. Pencil guidelines along the wall and ceiling. The measurements will be dependent on the size of coving being fitted. On long runs, it may be advisable to flick a chalk line between the guidelines. To ensure good adhesion, score the area between the guidelines. Note which way up the decorative plaster cove needs to be fitted. When fitting decorative plaster cove, it is important to take care with the joints and corner mitres in order to ensure good pattern matching. All measurement marks must be made on the cove wall edge. Always try and match the pattern on butt joints and external mitres. Any mismatches may be lost in the internal mitres. So, whenever a mitre is required, measure the distance between the end of the last fixed length and the corner of the room. Mark this measurement on the back of the wall edge of the next length of plaster cove. When cutting two external mitres on the one wall, for example a chimney breast, a compromise on pattern matching may be necessary. Mismatching sections of the design along the meeting edges can be trimmed as required. When joining two pieces of decorative plaster cove, it is best to use a straight butt joint method. To cut a butt joint, place the cove in the mitre block and line up the measured mark with the upright edges at the stepped end of the block. When cutting, keep the saw lined up against both edges of the mitre block. Any gaps may be made good by using the adhesive. Once dry, these areas can be easily sanded to leave a smooth, joint-free finish. When using the Artex mitre block, it is a good idea to keep the cove supported and level using a piece of wood the same thickness as the base of the mitre block. Alternatively, you can use another mitre block, which can also help when coming to cut the left and right-handed mitres. Place the cove upside down in the mitre block with the wall edge uppermost, flat against the side, and the ceiling edge flat against the base. There are 4 different types of mitre cut. External angles left hand, right hand, internal angles left hand, right hand. To cut a left hand corner mitre, position the mitre block to the left of the length of cove and line up the measured mark with the appropriate mitre block slot, depending on whether the angle is to be internal or external. Similarly, position the mitre block to the right of the length of cove for the right hand corners. When fitting paper faced cove, Always measure along the wall guideline when measuring and marking each length. Transfer the measurements taken from the wall to the back of the cove and mark the position of the cut required, marking up to the lip of the cove. A stopped end finish may be required when, say, a window extends up to the ceiling. To form a stop end, cut the end of the run of cove to an external corner. Taking a short piece of cove, cut the opposite external mitre. Measure from the mitre joint along the ceiling and transfer this measurement to the ceiling edge of the cove and cut the cove off square. The resulting wedge shape will be the stopped end. In certain circumstances, there may be a requirement to cut corners other than right angles, for bay windows for example. Draw pencil guidelines around the perimeter of the ceiling, out from and parallel with the walls. These lines will intersect at the corners. Offer up the cove with square cut ends. Mark on the wall edge of the cove the point where the walls meet. Without moving the cove, mark the point on the ceiling edge of the cove where the pencil lines drawn on the ceiling intersect. Hand cut the mitre between the two marks, taking care to angle the saw to allow the cut ends to meet correctly. The mitre is a line drawn between the marks on the wall and the ceiling edge of the cove. When fixing either paper-faced or decorative plaster cove, use Artex multi-purpose adhesive to ensure good adhesion. Apply a generous wedge shape of Artex multi-purpose adhesive onto the back of the edges of the cove. Position the cove between the guidelines and push firmly into place. Remove the excess adhesive along the edges by using either fingers, stripping knife, corker or sponge. The excess adhesive could then be used to fill in any gaps in the joints or mitered corners. Unwanted traces of the adhesive should be removed using a damp sponge. Tap panel pins or small nails at 600mm intervals into the wall and ceiling either side of the cove to provide additional support as the adhesive sets. Joints can be disguised and feathered out by using adhesive and a corker. Once dry, they can be lightly sanded. Once the adhesive is dry, carefully remove any supporting pins, then fill the holes, making good with either cove joint and gap filler or adhesive before sanding smooth any areas requiring attention. Before decoration, seal the porous surface with a thorough application of Artex Cove Primer. The cove can then be painted as required. With decorative plaster cove, once the adhesive is completely dry, drill through the thicker part of the shoulder and secure to the wall with screws and plugs, if required. The screw heads can be made good using adhesive. As you can see, the addition of coving to a room really gives it the finishing touch.